Hello, friends. It's me again. And I have not so much a story, but a question. Let's get into this and then we'll see what happens from there. Am I a neckbeard? I always like posts like this because we get to kind of expound upon things a little bit. So let's read on and see what happens. It's not an actual story, but more of how I go through life. I'm Rack, I'm 18, and I've seen Neckbeard once in my life. While it was pretty funny and pretty cringy, it did make me think. Sometimes, for some reason, whenever I read a story about neckbeards, I really seem to think about if I'm the same and if I should change. And I'm not really in shape, but I call myself fat while others say I'm just kinda big. I have long hair, wearing either loose or in a ponytail. I shave every day, wear mostly black, mostly band merch, and sometimes shirts with funny stuff written on it. I'm a huge fan of video games and anime. Whenever there's anyone who shares the same passion as me, to that degree, it really makes me overexcited. I tend to be rather too nice to people, especially girls. From my experience, it's easy to get them to hate you. I don't try to get really close to them or invade personal space. I do, however, always care for others' well-being, and I can be a little pushy whenever something is wrong with someone and try to help them. I take a shower every 2 days or so to avoid my skin getting really dry and use deodorant whenever I go out, but my way of talking and being with people, I have a feeling that I might be seen as a neckbeard myself, and honestly, that shit kinda scares me to some degree. Well, let's go over a few things. Well, first off, I want to define something that we've said a million times on this channel, and if you're listening to this, and I hope you are, our big thing is to always remember it's not the fedora, it's the fed-ora. And by that, we always mean it's not the way you look or dress, it's the way you act and think. Now, with that being said, the fact that you're questioning whether or not you are is a first step towards you're not. Neckbeards are usually pretty unapologetic. They can come in a variety of shapes and sizes and attitudes and so on, but it's usually not it's usually not a thing just based on looks. A lot of it is attitude. And the other thing that I'm going to point out is the fact that you're only 18. I know it seems kind of critical or whatever, being, that I'm much older. I won't say exactly how much, I don't need to feel that old. But the truth of the matter is you are 18, and you're still pretty young. I remember being 18, I remember making mistakes and things like that. It happens. A lot of what you're talking about, does not sound like neckbeard material to me. The band shirts, wearing mostly dark clothes and having long hair, well, fuck, I do that. I have a lot of those. So that's not really that, neckbeardy or out there, really. It just means that that's a particular style you like. I would even go so far as to say that the people who wear fedoras and trench coats aren't necessarily neckbeards, simply because fashion does not make you a neckbeard. Again, with the shaving, that's also not a thing. You don't necessarily need to have one in order to be one. I've known a lot of neckbeards who are actually pretty clean shaven, but their attitude is what sets it off. I've known some from my past who are just really misogynistic, homophobic jerkwads. And their attitude towards people and women specifically is what really tends to set off a lot of the neckbeard nice guy thing. The way you describe your interaction with people, and even women specifically, a lot of it just sounds like you're still learning how to interact with certain people. I, again, remember being that age and being, insanely nervous around girls I like. it happens. I also remember being insanely nervous around guys I like. That happens when you're bisexual. Yep. Anyway, it's a thing because you're still learning how, to I guess, put your best self forward. A lot of times, you're just doing your best to be, the best you that you can be. But really, you just kind of have to... There's a reason why everybody always says just be yourself. And it's like, yeah, it is kind of like that. You can project, but at the same time, it's like, but is it really you? You just need to, be who you are. And that really kind of makes things work a lot better in your favor. Again, I'm going back to a lot of the stuff you said, just reading over it from bits and bits, which is the reason why I kind of keep pausing and stuff. Okay, being too nice or getting really close to people, not, intending to invade personal space or intending to come off as, offensive or anything, it sounds to me like you're just very sensitive. It sounds to me like you really worry about the people that you're close to and the people that you like. And I'm going to go out on a limb, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. That's totally fine. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say that you might have a tendency to do that towards people who your friends are also friends with, because if your friends like them, by extension, they must be good people. Right? Again, I'm speaking from experience. I know that too. I had a lot of Neckbeard friends, and I almost fell into that same crowd. There was a lot of, trying to figure out who you are. And a lot of what, I guess, in my case, would have been, back in the day, interpreted as almost Neckbeard-like signals, were basically just me wanting everybody to be happy. Trying to make sure that everybody's okay. It's like... I'll give an example. I knew this guy. He was... I wouldn't say a super Neckbeard, but definitely up there. And he had 2 female friends, one of whom he was crushing on really hard. And the other was there at this... I don't even know where the fuck this was. A park? Some shit like that. And I felt really bad because, it wasn't a thing about, oh, I'm going to bring my friend, you bring your friend. This was literally he would have showed up there to meet her whether or not I was there. And she was incredibly, uncomfortable and awkward and felt really bad about, being on what is ostensibly kind of a date with this dude and this girl, because it's this was not a part of her weekend plan. She had no intention of being a part of their, their date. When we kind of met, I did my best, and again, I may have been a little over the top, and, at the end, I did apologize for a lot of the things. I wasn't, rude or, creepy or anything, but I was just kind of you want to, I don't know, walk or something? Because they're obviously not interested in us being here. So we did. We just kind of walked around and talked about shit, and eventually we just kind of became friends. And granted, I did apologize later, I can talk, for being a little nervous because I was, maybe 19. And I literally never met this person, so whenever I'm just I like this, and she's like, I don't know what that is. I'm well, sorry. I don't really know what to say. I literally don't know you. And when you're that young, you're not really in a position to kind of be well, let's talk about other things. Let's find a common ground. Let's do all this stuff. Because you don't really know how to talk to people. That's not really a thing that a lot of people just know right off the bat. And that's not really a Neckbeard thing. It's more of a socially awkward kind of thing, which, yeah, I still struggle with that sometimes. I'm very, believe it or not very social, which is weird given what I do for a living, isn't it? But, yeah, it doesn't sound like you're a Neckbeard at all to me. You sound like kind of a nervous guy who's trying to basically learn how to be you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Now, the big thing to keep in mind is that, mistakes can be made along the way. But as long as you're willing to, apologize, own up to those, and work through whatever problems you have, then there's not going to be any problem. And I don't think you're the kind of person who would just ignore that kind of shit. From the way you talk and the way you worded this and how obviously worried you are about this, it tells me that you're actually a really cool person and a really great person. It's okay to be awkward when you're young. It happens. There's nothing wrong with that. And I understand, worrying about people, and whenever somebody's like unhappy or they're hurt or something, your first instinct is to be like, well, what's wrong? What happened? Because you sound very nurturing. And that is a fantastic quality. I know a lot of people who love that kind of shit. Yours truly included. I like nurturing good people. That's a thing. And you just sound like an overall good person. I don't see anything wrong with this, and I don't think you're a neckbeard. So, I hope that helped. I hope that helped you feel a little bit better. And I hope that helped anybody else who's listening to this, too. If you ever think that you might be a neckbeard or a legbeard or anything like that, and you want to kind of write down your situation and ask me, I'm not like a super authority, but I have read a lot of these stories, so I guess I could give my opinion. You can do that, and send it to my subreddit, r/Moonhorse Stories. I'll check it out. I'm always happy to talk to people and expound upon stuff like this. Expound. That may or may not be a real word, but I really like the way it sounds. Expound. Yes, to expound. Now I'm just really being silly, and I'm sorry about that. But I am glad that you're all here, and again, I hope this did help somebody. And if you enjoyed this, do the whole like, comment, subscribe, and I have a merch store if you want to buy some weird Moonhorse stuff and show it off to all your friends and be like, hey, I listen to this weirdo on the internet, and they could be like, cool. I don't know if that's an actual conversation you'll have, but you could. I'm just saying. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. I love you all, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is. Okay, bye!